Hi everyone! Welcome to this guide on America's Test Kitchen, Let's Get Cooking. If you're joining me here today, I assume you've recently picked up your very own coffee. Or you're hungry. Or both. So let's not dilly-dally, and without further ado, let's get Wait,
cooking!
What? Where are all those voices coming from? Who are you people? If it's your first time opening this section, you'll need to make a personal profile and a group profile. You'll make your personal profile first, selecting a color and character icon, then typing in your name and birthday. You'll also need to mark whether or not the user attached to the profile is allowed to use heat or knives. Safety comes first and foremost, so make sure you mark this for any children who may be playing. Or if you're just really clumsy. Next, you'll need to record your name. This will be used anytime you're called on during cooking, so make sure it's clear and intelligible.
Dion.
Listen, with DS hardware, that's the best we're gonna get. Lastly, name your group. You can add more users to the group, whether they be friends, family, or, well, anyone. You'll need the different group profiles to distinguish between who's cooking in a recipe. Speaking of which, why don't we choose one? Before selecting a recipe, you might want to go to excluded ingredients. If you have any dietary preferences or allergies, this is a great place to go so you know what recipes to avoid. Or if you just maybe really hate wood chips in your cooking. There are a few ways to select recipes in this game, and we're going to start by just looking at them all. Select View All to look at all the recipes available to you, and feel free to peruse at your own pace. Wow, 300 recipes? Maybe let's pick this up for the sake of this tape's runtime. You can get more specific by using Search All. Here, you can search by specific ingredients, by recipe requirements such as calories and cook time, or by searching with your own keywords. This last option might be best for something not included in categories prior, or if it's a specific recipe you already know the name of, like chicken cacciatore. Chicken cacciatore. You know what, I wasn't going to make this one anyway. When selecting recipes, you have the option to mark it down as try it, and either attach it to a certain date, or just something you generally want to do soon. This can be great for recipes that you perhaps don't have the time for, or you just aren't prepared to make at the moment. You can then go over to the By Try It Recipes section to instantly find any of those recipes that you've selected. By Updated Recipes explains itself pretty well. It's just where you go to look at the last 20 recipes that you've updated. Suggested Meals will give you, well, suggestions based on upcoming events. Last but not least, you can search by calendar. You can use the calendar to make events, whether they be recurring like an anniversary or just a one-time thing like hosting a dinner party. You can also peruse the calendar to see any recipes you've made in the past. Why don't we see which ones I've made? You know, I think I'm starting to get a sense of what I might be cooking for you today. The first thing you'll need to do once you've selected a recipe is, of course, make sure you have all the ingredients. If you're missing any, you can mark them with the stylus so you know to get them later at the store. This is a feature we'll talk about later in this tape's runtime, so let's continue on for now. Before getting started, you can also view a brief summary of the recipe steps, but at this point we're just kind of wasting time. You'll first select your chefs. If you're on your own, all the steps of the recipe will be assigned to you. But if you're with anyone else, recipe steps can be split amongst you. The software will assign these steps automatically, but you can also do it manually if you'd prefer. I'll be the only one cooking today, but I'll see you in the kitchen.
All right, let's get started.
Here are the ingredients we'll be needing for this shrimp scampi recipe. 2 pounds of extra large shrimp, 4 garlic cloves, salt, pepper, an 1/8 teaspoon of sugar, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter, 2 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of minced fresh parsley, 1 tablespoon of dry white wine, and finally, just a pinch of cayenne pepper. And don't forget your DS, as well as your copy of America's Test Kitchen, Let's Get Cooking. The first thing you'll need to do is prepare the shrimp, which includes deveining them. This can be difficult if you're unfamiliar with the task, but luckily, we came prepared. See that little More Details icon? Press it and a video will play, showing you exactly how to properly devein your shrimp. Why don't we give it a try with ours? These are already peeled and deveined. Next, we'll have to mince the garlic. Use the side of your knife to remove the garlic skin. Then, using a garlic press if you own one, cut the garlic into very fine pieces. I don't own one, so I'll be mincing by hand. Should have splurged on the garlic press. Now, let's season our shrimp. After drying it, put it in a bowl, and then add 1/4 teaspoon salt, 1/4 teaspoon pepper, and an 1/8 teaspoon of sugar. Next, add 1 tablespoon of olive oil to your pan, and let it heat up until it's smoking. How do we know when it's smoking? Oh, you rascal. Put your shrimp in the pan and cook it for about a minute on each side. To make sure your shrimp is pink and cooked thoroughly, use the built-in timer to make sure you meet the ingredients' exact cook time. Remove your shrimp from the pan and put it in a bowl. Then, cook the rest of your shrimp if you have any left. Once all of your shrimp is cooked, add 1 tablespoon of butter to your pan and let it melt. Next, cook your garlic for about 15 seconds, just enough for it to be fragrant. Now turn off the heat and add 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of parsley, 1 tablespoon of wine, and that pinch of cayenne. Put in the rest of the butter, and if you want, feel free to add a bit more salt and pepper. Lastly, add your shrimp back to the pan and toss until it's well coated. And that's it for this recipe. Shrimp scampi is often paired with something else. In this recipe's tips and advice section, they recommend some white rice or bread, but I personally opt for some pasta. Now that's delicious. Once you've finished your food, you can give it a rating between 1 and 5 stars. And if you really liked it, consider sending the recipe to someone else. A good chunk of the recipes within this software are sendable through DS Download Play, and it's a great way to share meals with friends. Not this one though. Wait a minute, am I going to get in trouble for sharing this video? You can also add notes to the recipe. You can write in any thoughts from you or your friends, reminders or substitutions you made, or just give yourself a pat on the back for a job well done. We all need one of those every once in a while. Thank you for joining me in the kitchen today. There's still a few more things we have to cover in this tape, so I'll see you again shortly. You'll generally be able to get all of the information you need within the recipes themselves. But if you're running into any gaps in your knowledge, or you just want to look at things ahead of time, Cooking It Is Thee is the right place to be. There are 8 different categories, and they're all pretty self-explanatory, so let's just take a quick look at each one. In the Ingredients category, you can see any ingredient used in at least one recipe. These are broken up into different subsets, and clicking on an ingredient will give you more information on it, which can be great if there are any you're unfamiliar with. Wait a minute, do you not know what butter is? We literally just used it in the shrimp scampi. Up next is the Utensils category, which goes through every utensil potentially used in a recipe. Like the ingredients, these are all accompanied with photos, which can be especially helpful for differentiating between similar utensils, such as various types of knives. The Preparation category gives you instructions specifically on how to prepare various ingredients found within the different recipes. In Chopping and Cutting, you'll learn about various techniques used when chopping or cutting ingredients. These are different from the ones in the Preparation category because those deal with specific ingredients while these are more general techniques. Terminology delves into various words and phrases that people might not be familiar with, or that can just be very easily misinterpreted. I don't know why boiling is in here. I feel like that one's pretty self-explanatory, to be honest. The Helpful Tips category shows you different techniques that you can use in your cooking. These will definitely come in handy, so they're worth taking a look at. Example Videos compiles all of the videos throughout the recipes into one place. These can be especially useful if you're looking for a visual for some of these steps, as they can get a little complex. Lastly, we've got the Important Points category. These have to do more with the use of the software itself, or just things that aren't easily gleaned from the recipes. These might be things like the type of butter they used, or the spices they used in the recipe, or just common sense. Wash your fruits and vegetables, please. If you've got a checkmark symbol here in the main menu, that means you've got some items on your shopping list. By bringing your copy of America's Test Kitchen Let's Get Cooking and your Nintendo DS system to the store with you, you'll have a virtual shopping list right at your fingertips. Check off ingredients as you find them, and feel free to use our built-in calculator as well, if you need it. To be honest, I don't really know why it's here. Another one of our many options is the notepad. This is a place to write more general notes, and you can share them with specific users if you'd like. They'll come up next time you open the software. Oh, that's okay. I was about done with this section anyway. I'll see you all in the last chapter of this tape. Now I know what you're thinking. What could be interesting in the settings menu of all places? Well, not much, actually, but please just stick with me here. First, you can look at and edit your list of excluded ingredients. We've already discussed this feature in an earlier chapter, so we'll keep this moving along. Next, you can edit the speed of the chef's voice. You already set this option when you first booted up the software, but if you're having trouble keeping up, or feel like you could pick up the pace, this is the place to go. Music allows you to change how often music plays when you use the software, whether it be all the time, not when cooking, or not at all. Okay, this is really eerie. Can we change it back, please? The voice input menu is similar to music. While making recipes, you can use the DS microphone for an easier, hands-free experience, but that might not always be the preferred method. This is the place to be if you want to change it. Next, you can go to the group profile options to create, edit, or delete any profiles, as well as change the group name if you want. You can also view profiles here. Who knew that all I had to do to become a master chef was cook shrimp scampi 48 times? The mic test allows you to test your microphone, and erase user data will allow you to erase all data within the software, rather than just individual profiles. You can also access the timer from this menu if you want to use our built-in timer but aren't using one of our recipes. Or maybe it's just the only timer you own, in which case, hey, if that works for you. Hey, wait a minute, this is a game console. Don't you wish you had a game in your recipe book? Well, fret not, because you can access the classic Game & Watch game, Egg. Is this something people were really clamoring for? And with that, thank you for joining me on this guide to America's Test Kitchen Let's Get Cooking. Before you go, take a look at our staff credits. As the names scroll by on the bottom screen, the top screen shows every recipe you've made. You know, seeing this recipe go by over and over one by one really makes me think I should at least try one other thing.